Steve Lillywhite has built a formidable reputation as a rock producer, but few projects tested him like his time with the Rolling Stones. Among all the bands he has worked with, that chapter stands out as one of the most demanding periods of his professional life. In 1985, Lillywhite was asked to oversee the Stones' 18th studio album, Dirty Work. At that point, the band was deeply divided. Tension between Mick Jagger and Keith Richards had reached a level where communication was almost non-existent. During the entire recording process, they barely interacted, spending only a fleeting amount of time speaking directly to each other. The atmosphere in the studio was tense and exhausting. Jagger and Richards often refused to be in the same room, forcing Lillywhite into an unusual position. He became a mediator, relaying messages back and forth like a diplomatic envoy. One would vent to him, then he would walk over to the other and repeat the message, only to be sent back again with a response. He later joked that he felt less like a producer and more like an international negotiator trying to prevent a breakdown in relations. Despite the chaos behind the scenes, Dirty Work was released in March 1986 and performed well commercially. However, the unrest within the band was so severe that the Stones chose not to tour in support of the album. For Lillywhite, the experience was brutal but invaluable. He came away with an important lesson about the creative process, the value of openness in the studio. Watching how outside listeners reacted to unfinished mixes helped him hear the music differently. Fresh ears often revealed problems or solutions he had sensed but not fully identified, making collaboration beyond the band itself a crucial part of his workflow. The Rolling Stones' internal struggles contrast sharply with the relative stability of their lineup over the decades. When the band first appeared publicly in July 1962, its members were still shifting. Alongside childhood friends Jagger and Richards and the versatile Brian Jones, the early group featured several musicians who soon departed or were reassigned. The following year saw even more changes before the lineup finally began to settle. By late 1962 and early 1963, bassist Bill Wyman and drummer Charlie Watts joined, forming a core that would define the band's rise. Within a few short years, the Stones had moved from their first single to global dominance, topping charts on both sides of the Atlantic. The late 1960s brought another turning point. Brian Jones became increasingly detached from the band, struggling personally and creatively, and was dismissed in 1969. His death shortly afterward cast a long shadow, even as guitarist Mick Taylor stepped in and contributed to a run of landmark albums. Taylor eventually left in 1974, frustrated with limited creative freedom, leading to the arrival of Ronnie Wood. Although creative clashes continued, especially between Jagger and Richards, the lineup remained intact for years. Bill Wyman's departure in 1992 marked the next major change, paving the way for Daryl Jones, who continues as a longtime collaborator rather than a formal member. After Charlie Watts passed away in 2021, the Stones carried on with drummer Steve Jordan, closing another chapter while proving their resilience once again.